Now, for those, hopefully wala naman isa sa inyo dito, who will be taking the board exam when they are married. Pagkasal na, tas gusto mong mag-appear sa license mo, yung married name mo, so kailangan mo mag-submit ng marriage contract. By the way, pinag-uusapan na lang naman natin yung marriage. You are not required, sabi ko nga, like ko sinasabi for ladies, you are not required to use the surname of your husband. You are not required under the law. However, it is customary for us to assume the surname of your husband, di ba? That's why even I am Carlos before, now syempre Santiago na. Pero sabi ko nga, hindi required yon. So katulad ko, best example, nag-take ng board exam, Carlos. Pero pag titingnan nyo yung PRC card ko ngayon, Santiago na. Kasi nung kinasal ako, I submitted to PRC for a change of name. Para yung records ko lahat nasa Santiago na. Pero of course, I want to emphasize ladies na hindi naman kailangan ganon. Okay? Kailangan maliwanag tayo. Pero I know na hindi kailangan, but I did so anyway. As I always say, out of respect to the family of my husband. Kasi like ko nga sinasabi, they are nice to me. 'Di ba? They are really nice to me. So, 'di ba? Sige na nga, mabait naman kayo sa akin. Papasakop na nga ako, 'di ba? So, I'm giving you idea, ladies, ha? Pag hindi mabait sa inyo yung pamilya ng asawa nyo, do not assume their surname. Kaso class, ladies, may catch dyan. May pagka-morbid lang ang catch dyan. Pag sumakay kayo ng eroplano, yung mga anak mo at saka asawa mo isa apelyido. At ikaw ay ibang apelyido, right? So sa manifest, baka hindi ka masama na family. Dahil iba yung apelyido mo, you know naman dito sa atin, di ba? Kailangan magkaka-apelyido para masabing magkakamag-anak, isang pamilya yan. So baka mapahiwalay ka dun sa manifest of missing people. 'Di ba? So yun yung may pagka-morbid lang. Kaya sige na nga, lumipat ka na nga ng apelyido ng asawa mo, 'di ba? Because of in order for, I guess, identity. Anyway, basta alam nyo na hindi kailangan i-assume. Okay? Ngayon, syempre, wala naman dito mag-aalis guo na yung pinaka-birth certificate pala is spurious. Ni-register lang na Filipino, na hindi naman Filipino ang nanay at tatay. Diba? Were you able to follow Alice Guo? Diba? Talagang hindi niya alam kung saan siya. Nasaan na yung nanay niya at hindi niya alam kung saan siya tumira at hindi niya alam bakit siya na-homeschool.
Walang case na yun.
Well, good luck to her. Ngayon, na-apply ka na, ito na, na-submit na yung requirements, now magte-test ka na. For your information, there are two subjects, practical, theoretical. Okay? Sa practical, 30% ang weight niyan. Yung theoretical, 70% ang weight. Yung 30% na practical, there are 5 subjects. Objective examination, subjective, ophthalmics, contact lens, and clinical optometry. Na tigta 20% sila. So yung isang subject sa practical exam, 30% divided by 5 is 6% ng total grade mo. Okay? Ngayon, yung kabila na 70%, divided into 8 subjects. 4 subjects carry 15% and 4 subjects carry 10%. Like for example, ethics, jurisprudence, and practice management is 10% of the 70%. So yung pinag-aaralan natin dito ay 7% pala ng grade mo sa board examination. So kailangan, syempre, just look on the book kung ano yung mga subjects na yung PO, TO, primary care, clinical optometry, 15% each. Yung 10%, ethics, ocular biology, ocular pathology, ocular pharmacology, tig-10 yan. Okay? Ngayon, paano pumasa? You must get number 1. a weighted grade of 75% and no grade below 50 on any of the subject. So, 8 sa theoretical, 5 sa practical, kailangan bawat subject 50 and above. Tapos pag kinuha natin yung weighted grade, 75 and above. Okay? Ngayon, paano kung kasi inaantok ka sa klasiko? Hindi ka naka-50 sa ethics, sa board exam. Naka-49 ka. Pero, ang weighted average mo ay 75 and above. Question, are you pass, fail, conditional? The answer is conditional. Hindi ka pasado. Kasi next year, uulitin mo yung ethics. Kailangan makakuha ka ng 50 para ma-classify kang pass. So, twin requirements, 75 weighted average, but no grade below 50. So, kailangan isampa mo sa 50. Okay? Next. Paano kung below 75 ka? Nandun ka ba sa failed or pwede kang sumabit sa conditional? Pwede kang sumabit sa conditional. Kasi titingnan yung practical mo at saka yung theoretical. Kung either doon, naka 75 and above ka with no grade below 50, pasado ka sa portion na yon. Ang uulitin mo na lang yung kabila. 'Di ba? Halimbawa, 5 yung practical. Sa practical, above 75 ka. Pero sa theoretical, 70 ka. Siyempre, pag in-average yan, below 75, right? Pag kinuha yung weighted grade, kasi yung practical, 30% lang. So, pag ganon, next year, uulitin mo na lang yung theoretical. Ang assumption natin dito, no grade below 50 for the practical. Para lahat yon considered pass. Okay? Ngayon, kung neither the practical nor the theoretical is below or above 75, tapos ang weighted grade mo ay below 75, definitely dun ka sa F. Failed. And to repeat next year. Okay, for those of you who are aspiring for top-notchers, kailangan you aim for 90 to 95. Maganda nga 95. Para meron kang window or allowance na bumaba ng konti and still top-notcher pa rin. Diba? Sabi ko nga, like kung paulit-ulit, dito sa subject na to, the objective is for you to become optometrist. What you become after, it's up to you. So I will not really hammer on you to become ethical optometrist because I am very realistic of our profession. Now, test, exam. Hindi nakapasa. Failed siya. So, re-repeat siya next year. Hindi pa rin. Repeat next year. Hindi pa rin. Next year, hindi ka na makaka-repeat. Kailangan anong kailangan na? Refresher course. So, if you failed to pass for 3 tries, on your 4th try, you can be allowed to take provided you submit a refresher course. A proof that you had refresher course. Okay? Sa Opto, ang refresher course, if I'm not mistaken, isa-certify lang ng school yan na attend ka ng formal review classes. Pero for other professions like law, ang refresher course, repeat performance ka ng 4th year. Diba? So medyo mahirap-hirap yun. 1 taon na bubunuin mo ulit yung mga subjects mo. So depende sa course or sa profession. Okay? Now, of course, every one of you are allowed or licensed to use DPA, but for other professionals or graduates like me, we cannot use DPA unless we pass the special certification examination for use of DPAs. For some of you here who are children of optometrists, your parents, your mom or your dad or your sibling may have taken this if they should take this if they want to use DPAs or no need, di ba? Depende. Pero pag akong tatanungin nyo, syempre, I don't want to. I don't want to take the special certification examination for DPAs. Now, in case someone you know wants to, what are the requirements? Syempre, certificate of registration, authenticated copy of the PRC card. Tapos, ito yung dalawang importante. The first is certification of completion that you have taken special pharmacology course, and at the same time, yun yung theoretical. Yung practical is certificate of completion of preceptorial hours that you have undergone training with a DPA licensed optometrist and an ophthalmologist. So, pasado na. Oath-taking. Pwede ka bang ma-deny ng oath-taking kahit pasado ka? The answer is yes. If the documents you submitted are false or fraudulent, or you have been found guilty by the Board of dishonorable conduct, di ba sabi natin, continuing requirement ng good moral character, or you were declared by the Board of unsound mind. So, ikaw pala ay insane. Hindi lang ordinaryong mental illness yan, but rather really insane. Diba? So, I'm taking screenshots to see who are really turning on their camera because I'll give additional points for those whom I can see faces and trying to react to me. Now, when you pass the board examination and you will be issued certificate of registration and PRC card, ang tawag natin dyan, registration. Siyempre, kailangan mong mag-submit ng magbayad. Aside from makapasa, mag-oath taking, may kasamang registration fees. Yung registration fees na yon is good for the next 3 years. Now, if you are working abroad or applying for work even in the Philippines, sometimes they may not trust your certificate of registration kasi luma na or naninilaw. So you can apply from PRC a confirmation of registration to attest for PRC to attest the fact that you are licensed optometrist in the Philippines. Question so far? We are down to the last topic for today, which is limited practice of optometry. So, na-discuss natin nung unang-una yung mga yung what is optometry. So, na-discuss na natin paano maging optometrist in order for you to be allowed to practice this. Ang last is yung limited practice. The basic rule is no person can practice optometry unless they are duly authorized to practice optometry. That's a general rule. The exception is there are at least 3 exceptions. Tatlong exception. Number 1, those professionals or persons under limited practice of optometry. Filipino na limited practice. Yan yung nasa RA 8050. Number 1, physicians who have postgraduate training in diagnosis and treatment of eye diseases. Number 2, registered physicians doing annual physical examination. And number 3, public health workers involved in government blindness prevention program. Also, National Vision Screening Program of the government. So yung mga yan, pag nag-visual acuity testing sila, hindi yan unauthorized practice of optometry. Okay? Siyempre, may magtatanong sa akin or you might be curious, ma'am, paano yung mga ophthalmologists na naggagawa ng refraction? syempre, hindi pa rin yan unauthorized practice of optometry. Kasi part of the test yan for examining eye diseases. So, kailangan, di ba, makita nila kung yung eye disease na yon may effect sa vision. Kaya sila naggagawa ng refraction. Ngayon, the next is, tatanungin nyo ako, ma'am, paano kung nagdi-dispense na sila? I can categorically, absolutely say that insofar as dispensing is concerned, it is within the authority of the optometrist. Sa atin lang yang dispensing. Now, sa mga factory, di ba, may annual physical exam. Si medical doctor doon, nag-VA. Hindi yan unauthorized practice of optometry. Sa health center, nag-VA or yung sa LTO, di ba, pag nag apply ng driver's license, vini-VA din doon. Hindi rin yan unauthorized practice of optometry. You know what, class? I have this experience sa LTO. Hindi lahat talaga doon sasabihin nyo na yung tinatamad sa trabaho nila. Nung nag-ano ko, VNA ako nung doktor doon sa LTO, marunong din siya kasi parang marunong siya in a sense na ginawa niya na paraan na hindi mo tinatanong niya yung letter na hindi sunod-sunod. Di ba ginagawa din naman natin para malaman niya kung talagang nakikita mo o hindi. So, gusto ko yung si doktor na yon for the VA testing kasi makikita mo na serious siya sa trabaho niya. Now, what is National Vision Screening Program? Of course, there is National Vision Screening Act. So, ang purpose niyan is to screen the vision of kindergarten students so that we will be able to provide remedy. The government can provide remedial measures to these children. Kasi we all know, poor eyesight in children leads to poor academics. So, nahirapan silang matuto, hindi nababasa kasi malabo. Pero syempre, hindi yan one way lang yan. One way lang siya, relationship. Hindi yan two-way. Tipong, kaya pala mahina ulo niya kasi malabo mata niya. Hindi ganon. Pag malabo ang mata mo, definitely you will not be able to learn very well. Pero meron talagang likas na medyo slow, di ba? So, hindi porket slow ka, malabo mata mo. Hindi ganon. Okay? One way lang siya, hindi two-way. Ngayon, it is actually, the National Vision Screening Program is actually implemented by the DepEd. Kasi para nga sa mga kindergarten. Ngayon, the Philippine Eye Research Institute will train teachers or health professionals, pwedeng nurse, pwedeng guidance counselor, sa DepEd, na wala nga rin palang guidance counselor doon, to train them to do vision screening para malaman kung sino dyan yung may poor eyesight. Ngayon, yung results nun will be collected by the Philippine Eye Research Institute para makagawa sila ng data system. Pero, they should also be referred to optometrists so that they will be given appropriate corrective lenses or spectacles. In fact, yan yung naging basis bakit yung mga salamin, yung pair of glasses, pwede na siyang maklaim under SSS. Pero syempre, kailangan accredited yung clinic. Nasabi nga na isang optometrist na nakausap ko, mahirap magpa-accredit, which is very true. Mahirap magpa-accredit sa SSS para makakuha ka ng mga pasyente na mag-a-avail ng pair of glasses through SSS. Not SSS, through PhilHealth. I should say, class, PhilHealth. Di ba alam naman natin sa PhilHealth, may mga health benefits like yung mga sa dialysis sa kidney, 'di ba? Pwede kang maka-reimburse o kaya sa ospital or COVID, reimbursable yan ng PhilHealth. Ngayon, yung pair of glasses, pwede rin siyang ma-reimburse sa PhilHealth. Ang catch, parang ospital. Para maka PhilHealth benefit ka, yung ospital kailangan accredited ng PhilHealth. Kaya makikita nyo, lalo na sa probinsya, PhilHealth accredited. So, ibig sabihin, ikaw, wala kang pambayad ng papa-check up, pupunta ka sa ospital na yon, tapos PhilHealth ang magbabayad. Ngayon, ganun din sana sa salamin. Kaso, ang complaint nga ng mga optometrists, mahirap magpa-register sa SSS. Number 2, those Filipino professionals who will secure special permit to practice in the Philippines. So sila yung mga dating Filipinos na nang mag-migrate, na naging, let us say, American citizen, na bumabalik sa Pilipinas. So pagka ganon, they need to present their old certificate of registration, PRC card, certificate of employment, and proof of reacquisition of Filipino citizenship. Kasi only Filipinos can practice optometry. And last, number 3 is foreigners. Ang foreigners, tatlong klase yan. Okay? So ma'am, ibig sabihin, di sila magte-test, pero pwede silang mag-practice? Yes. First, under foreign reciprocity rule. It's provided in RA 8050. Halimbawa, Filipinos in their country are allowed to practice optometry. So similarly, under foreign reciprocity rule or mutual recognition agreement, we should also allow them, their citizen, to practice optometry in the Philippines. But so far, I don't have any information that a foreigner is allowed to practice optometry in the Philippines. Diba? So walang nag-a-apply na ganyan sa atin. Pag may nag-apply, the power of the board is recommendatory. It is actually the PRC who grants the permit to practice without examination. Second, sino mga foreigner naman yan? The foreigners this time, special permit pa rin to practice optometry if they are internationally known or well-known. And their service will promote advancement in the profession. So, pwede sila ma-allow in certain conditions allowed by the board. And last but not the least, foreigner pa rin. So marami pala pagkakataon na pwedeng pasukin yung negosyo natin, no? Pwede. Pero this, as I always say, this requires the recommendation by the board and approval by the PRC. So kung hindi nila maaawitan yung mga members of the board, hindi sila kanila pwedeng mag-practice. So ang first hurdle nila is to be recommended by the board. And the last is foreigners, special permit, this time, not certain conditions, but a limited period of time. Okay, sandali lang yung permit nila. Dalawa, first, consultants in foreign-funded joint venture or foreign-assisted projects of the government. Consultant sila sa government. Or nasa private sector sila, either empleyado, or pwede rin consultant, pero usually employees for firms or institutions engaged in humanitarian mission. So yung special permit, hindi yan pwedeng i-grant sa foreigner for a limited period of time to private companies operating for profit. So, pwede lang yan pag humanitarian or taga-gobyerno. So, makikita nyo, hindi pa rin talaga tayo pwedeng pasukin at mabawasan tayo ng negosyo. Ma'am, we all know that there are optical shops which are foreign multinational companies like, is it Owndays, right? Japan. Paano man kung merong Japanese optometrist na pupunta dito para asikasuhin, titingnan lang? they can do that, but not to practice optometry, but they can do that as employees of own days, foreigner own days. Kailangan nilang mag-apply ng special permit sa DOLE. So in short, lahat ng foreigners magtatrabaho sa Pilipinas as employees need special permit from DOLE. Pinapublish ng DOLE yan. Pero kung sila magpa-practice dito, hindi yan sa DOLE. A-applyin yan sa PRC. Pero the PRC will not grant it if it's working in the private sector. Not unless papasok siya sa number 2, internationally well-known, and his services will promote advancement of the profession in the Philippines. Pero of course, it's very difficult to harp on that if they will be working in the private sector. So that concludes our lesson up to chapter 3. The monologue is finished. Do you have any question, class? Okay. Pagka talaga lecture, mabilis di ba? Kaya gusto ko sa classroom para makapag-recite. No question, class? So we're going to have quiz on chapter 1 plus portions of, I think, chapter 4 insofar as professional organization and code of ethics is concerned. And then quiz number 2, chapter 2, and then prelim exam. And then the following meeting, quiz number 1 for midterms, that will be chapter 3. Okay. So I'll check with Central if copies of the book is available so that you can prepare very well for the quizzes. But before I dismiss, I need to check the attendance again if these are finally here in the class. Acevedo, I saw Acevedo earlier. Ananelia.
Present po, Doc. Good morning po.
Okay. Morning. What about Acevedo Alfonso?
Present po. Good morning po.
Okay. What about Boleche?
Good morning po, present po.
Okay. What about Lalis?
Present po, Doc. Good morning po.
Okay. What about Magluyan? Peralta? Villasilio?
Present po, Doc.
Okay. So only Magluyan and Peralta are not here today. Hindi nasira ang tulog nila, 'di ba? So Magluyan and Peralta are sleeping tightly. So I guess that will be all for today. Good luck everyone for the 2 quizzes, prelim and another quiz, and you can continue your sleep. Goodbye, class.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.